the exploitation of women's bodies, sells products, magazines, etc.
Can you open this?
There has been some discussion that advertisers are themselves men for 1834. They are saying this is the kind of program we want. If you show a woman scantily clad, maybe that's an opportunity to get more viewers to your show.
Can somebody explain the part where they were talking about like the economy of media advertising, right? Mm-hmm. And they said something like 75% or some majority number of women are like consumers, but then they advertise, they want mostly women watch TV, but they advertise to men. I didn't get that part. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The idea is that women are already watching TV, so that they're already available to for the advertising. They need to get men to watch TV so then they can advertise to them.
So, but the part that I don't get is like, and maybe this is just really messed up, but like, wouldn't you think that advertisers would be more sensitive to women if most women are watching TV? That means that women are just kind of taking it, right?
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sounds.
But I feel like women have been fed these messages for so long that it's normal now, and women are just blind to it, and that's why we mindlessly absorb these messages.
And also, I think it's a difference in like what are women being advertised also through like media, whether it's like cleaning products or baby stuff or cooking things or microwaves or lipstick. Like, I think there's a big difference between what people are trying to sell women, and it's not just products, it's an idea of like womanhood too in like these advertisements, I think.
Right, we're being sold products that are based on what we're taught from an early age that we're supposed to do and supposed to like and supposed to be interested in.
So. And also, I think it's important they brought up, like briefly, Tanya was talking about like how they brought up briefly patriarchy, which I think is an important thing to understand too when we're looking at like, yeah, women are 86% of consumers. Is that the percentage? Which is like
buying power.
Buying power. Okay, and then we're like the majority of consumers of the media, but it's within a patriarchal system. So that where is the power in that? There isn't, and I think that's an important topic to kind of address.
I have a question for you guys. Did this film at any point, although its goal was to try to empower female viewers, did you guys at any point feel discouraged?
Yes.
Okay,
that's why I'm behind this camera.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one. Okay, so.
Just from the trailer alone, my first thought was, wow, like a lot of these images, a lot of this negativity is being perpetuated by women in the media. Like we are the ones doing it to ourselves. But it's just like seeing that was what was very discouraging to me, like from the very beginning of the film.
I kind of felt the opposite of discouragement because I think that I feel all of these things, even like when I watch something like this, I then have like better words to articulate what I feel constantly from like the media or around me. And like as an organizer, these are the things that I work to unpack. So it's like, you're not tripping, it's real. Like, and that for me is very encouraging. You're not being just a girl, you're not emotional. That's what made me like write down denial, because I think about that a lot, both my own denial for a long time of like my own sexism or my own chauvinism, or like denial of by other women, especially like that even exists.
Just months after Telecom 96 passed, Access Hollywood debuted and E! News debuted. These are two of the most sort of fat-shaming infotainment outlets we have today, where they follow around women who have eaten a muffin and then circle their stomachs with graphics and point to them and say, baby bump, are they pregnant? You know, oh, no, sorry, she just ate a bagel.
Self-objectification. And when I heard them say that, I'm like, oh, that sounds like internalized oppression. And just another word, just another term for it. And when you talked about women, like, being the kind of perpetuators of of patriarchy and how that has to do with you internalizing the oppression that you're experiencing. So when the actress says her choice was to either continue to get Botox or not work, right? And how she was like, I'm like, wow, those are only two choices you feel like you have. It's like, well, I don't really want to do this because I feel like I'm like, it's like, hurting my own integrity. So I guess I can't work anymore, as an actress. And like to think that she is in this place where she feels like that's her only other option. And and like I organize within this poverty context. And one of the things we talk about when we talk about poverty is the people who are poor being made to feel like it is a personal failure that they don't have money, right? And thinking about that, translating that into this context, thinking that it is a personal failure that you didn't do X, Y, and Z as a woman. Katie Couric, I should have worn longer skirts 10, 20 years ago, and maybe this wouldn't be happening now. And how sad it is that she thinks that she has something to do with something that is deeper and longer and bigger than her as a woman, but yet it could be her fault because she's a trendsetter. She's the first woman to do blah, so she should have known better.
Which made me write down self-objectification versus body ownership, and like where is like the line there? Like I like my legs, you know what I mean? I like my legs quite a bit, and I don't mind people seeing them. But like where is that demarcation between like I like my legs and I would like for you to see them, and get up on TV and put your legs out there, please.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. It was discouraging or complicated to see this movie. It didn't like talk about it explicitly, but yeah, like the guilt we feel as women over our own hypocrisy. And I think it's, exactly the moment when Katie Couric says, maybe I did something wrong, or the movie starts with the woman becoming a mom, and so it's like it's like all of a sudden we're faced with this position of power. Now, before that we could just react against it, bitch about it, but then when we are in that position of power, then be like, well, I'm doing it too, or I'm doing it to myself, I'm doing it to other people, and then it's like further self-objectification, because then we're feeling guilty about like, well, we're not perfect, even in trying to be better.
And then you don't do things like challenge it. Like you will be like, oh, if they're already advertising to me, why aren't women, like if women have been the consumer of this for the last 40 years, why are we even having this conversation, so to speak? Because we take ownership of the problem, right? And to me that goes back to white supremacy and capitalism, because they both have to do with people, one, victims fighting amongst themselves, and two, people either being pitted against each other as well as pitted amongst themselves, like the psychological warfare that is taking place when someone internalizes that problem.
It's a myth that we live in and under and with a democratic media. We don't.
When it comes to the politics of all this, in the last 25 years, our lawmakers have essentially been absent.
They framed it as this over-encompassing, overwhelming, ubiquitous, pervasive, insidious problem, which it is. I don't doubt that. I know it. I agree wholeheartly. The way they presented this information, it left so little room for the reality of spaces like this, of what like women are doing and what's sort of being done, and I don't even think that's it either. I think it's something else, and I just don't have the words for it. Maybe that's why I was quiet tonight, because I didn't have words for it. And I was angry that, and I was angry that I felt wordless.
Some of the places that is hitting us, right, doesn't necessarily have to, because like somebody did walk out of here feeling overwhelmed or discouraged earlier, right? And it's like reminding ourselves, like, that's right, this is not, I am actually have transcended thinking like this. I have gone someplace else. Yeah. And and that can be empowering in and of itself, as your personal empowerment.
I think this was more to bring about conversation more than anything else, to kind of get the dialogue started more so than to like have people spring into action but it's just to kind of get them talking about it, to hopefully maybe on their own they can get to that next step of where action is being taken.
But I think you're right though too, Erin, like there is a moment
a teachable moment, like you said, that should have been included. The space to imagine that there is change possible, that there is change happening too.
Yeah, right.
You know, because it was all like, man, you know, it used to be so good back in the 70s, and then the 80s happened. And you know, it was like in 1982, and then oh my god. But it's like, but this is so inspiring for me. I have to let you know,
filmmaker, right?
As a filmmaker and writing my thesis right now, and these are all the issues that I'm always thinking about, especially, you know, not just gender, but also race, of course, and thinking about what kind of movies do I want to make. I want to make movies that make things seem possible. I don't want to just highlight the problem, right? And then like, oh, things are so bad, you know, racism is there, and we have all these issues with ourselves, and blah, blah. Okay, we know that. Now what?
Then it just brings up us recognizing where we are in our own evolution as educators, as teachers, whatever. It's like we're no longer in this place, right? We've come a long way, right? So I think what she's pointing out is like, we've come a long way, but we're in a position to use this for other people who have yet to get there.
Sure.
And when she said, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, their curriculum sitting right there. This is
right. What can we do together? How can we be part of the change that this film calls for?
I think this is part of change.
Yeah.
To be in spaces where you don't feel crazy.
Right.
Is such a liberating moment. You know, because it really does, because when you're isolated in your own thoughts and in your own struggle, that weight can produce hopelessness, and you surrender power without even recognizing that you're surrendering your power in those situations. And these spaces kind of help you to like recognize, like, oh snap, I was like losing power force here, and I can have it back just by having these conversations.
I think the videos that you make, how you take these conversations, I think is powerful because of how it enters the interwebs and now becomes media. I think it becomes a part of a visual to see, to engage with.
I would like to be represented as a whole person.
Layered.
I like the word layered.
No matter who you are, you wear a number of hats at the same time.
The best you could do right now for me is to paint me in a complicated, nuanced way.